I recently had the pleasure of attending your insightful lecture on the Bhagavad Gita, where you discussed consciousness as an experience. This subject deeply intrigued me, and I would like to ask a question that has been on my mind. My goal is to incorporate sleep into my spiritual practice, enhancing the quality of my sleep and turning it into a meaningful part of my spiritual journey. I want to know how to use the state of sleep as a tool for expanding my awareness and cultivating a deeper connection with my true self. In reflecting upon my own experiences with consciousness, I have noticed three distinct and powerful moments that seem to point towards something greater. The first experience happened during an accident in which I was fortunate enough to momentarily detach from the physical world. In that moment, I felt as though I was entering a state of pure peace and stillness where I became aware of other beings around me, but I also felt myself dissolving into that peaceful state. It wasn't a sensation of rising upward into another plane, but rather an expansion of my own being. It was as though I transcended the boundaries of the body and mind, moving into a state of consciousness that was vast and limitless. This experience seemed to point towards consciousness expanding beyond the physical body. The second experience occurred while I was meditating. When I reached a certain vibrational state with my mind and body, I felt the space around me open up, as if a black hole had formed. It wasn't a black hole of emptiness, but one of stillness, a space where everything became calm and peaceful. In this moment, there was no sense of external beings or stimuli, only an overwhelming presence of pure bliss and tranquility. It was as if I was in touch with the essence of the universe itself, yet without any external distractions or sense of ego. This experience was purely about being without any identification with body or mind. The third experience is more related to sleep. I've read and been told by others that it's important to maintain awareness as we fall asleep. Often, when I begin to drift into sleep, I experience a sensation that feels as though I'm being pulled into my body, a feeling of being sucked into a black hole. During this transition, I sense the same peacefulness and bliss that I felt during meditation. It's as though I am moving from one state of consciousness to another, but I am unsure of where my awareness truly is at this moment. Is it contracting into the body, expanding into a deeper state of awareness, or perhaps something else entirely? Is there a deeper connection to the heart or brain during this phase of transition into sleep? From my understanding of Advaita Vedanta, consciousness is one continuous, unchanging reality that remains the same whether we are awake, dreaming, or in deep sleep. I've heard that even when the mind experiences shifts, such as moments of expansion, contraction, or heightened alertness, the essence of consciousness remains untouched. My question is, when I have these experiences, whether they be of detachment during an accident, expansion in meditation, or the blissful transition into sleep, are they all still part of the same unchanging consciousness? Or are they simply different ways the mind perceives consciousness at different stages? I've been reading more about the nature of consciousness and the mind from the perspective of different spiritual traditions. One tradition that resonates with me is Kashmir Shaivism, specifically the techniques outlined in the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Some of the techniques described in this tradition aim to simulate these states of consciousness that I have experienced, particularly the experience of sudden dramatic shifts in awareness. For example, there's a practice called sky gazing, where you lie down under an open sky and focus intensely on the vastness of the blue sky above you. This vast, limitless space seems to open your mind and expand your sense of self. Then, at a certain moment, you are instructed to close your eyes and allow your mind to drop into a state of awareness without trying to grasp or hold on to anything. The vast sky is no longer visible, but your awareness remains. It is as though you've moved from one state of consciousness to another without any interruption, and yet you are still the same awareness. These techniques, along with those in other spiritual traditions like Tibetan Zen, seem to mirror the experiences I have had with my own mind, both in meditation and during sleep. They point towards the same truth that Advaita Vedanta teaches. Consciousness is unchanging, and regardless of the fluctuations of the mind, whether it is expanding, contracting, or moving into stillness, consciousness itself remains constant. I have been contemplating how to integrate this understanding into my daily life, particularly when it comes to sleep. Is there a way to make sleep a conscious spiritual practice, where I remain aware of my true nature while I sleep? How can I deepen my awareness during sleep, while also maintaining my awareness in the waking state? I believe that if I can learn to be more conscious during sleep, it may help me reach a deeper level of understanding of who I truly am and what consciousness is. Ultimately, my goal is to make sleep a tool for self-realization and to understand the nature of consciousness through my experiences in both the waking and sleeping states. I would greatly appreciate any guidance or insights you could share regarding how to approach this process and how to develop the ability to stay aware during the transition into sleep.